This is episode 44 and it is jam-packed. Firstly, we've got the match reports and the details from all of the Britton fixtures and those exclusive coaches' thoughts. Some massive games this weekend and already the league is throwing up some amazing results. After the match reports, we've got our first player guest of the season, Slough Jets and Team GB star Christian Moore. The Slough forward joins me to discuss his career and answer your questions. Right then, let's drop the puck on episode 44 and let's start on Saturday night down in Gosport. Solent Devils versus Slough Jets, and both sides with pretty much full rosters aside from a couple of two-way lads, and the game started fairly even. Jets took a penalty on 6:27 but killed it off, however found themselves behind 20 seconds after returning to full strength when Cloutman and Campbell assisted Peacock to put the Devils 1-0 up on 8:46. The visitors rallied and pulled themselves level on 11:54 when English assisted Jack Goodchild for 1-1. The game swung back the way of the home side on 15:42 when Osman and Peacock assisted Ryan Sutton. Just before the end of the period, the Slough Jets fired back again when Hemmings Mayer assisted Lewis English on 18:18 to make it 2-2. Into the second, and with both sides possibly still searching for that match fitness, the home side, though, just do not lay down for anyone and retook the lead with the goal from Russell on 33:15, assisted by Peacock again. The Jets were left in a tailspin when the Devils struck again on 36:33 as Osman assisted Forsyth to make 4-2 to the home side. As the second wound to a close, the Jets regained flight status and made it a one-goal game after Goodchild got his second, assisted by Seb Moore on 39:19. Into the third, and the Devils killed off an early penalty after Murray was sanctioned for tripping, and there was a short break in play after 50 minutes as Hemmings Mayer received some treatment to a cut nose. Shortly after the restart, Llewellyn sat for 2 for delay of game, and on the resulting power play, an assist from Jacob Minter as Jack Goodchild completed his hat-trick. I get the feeling there will not be boring games at Gosport this year. As the game drew to a close, Minter and Goodchild combined again to give the Jets a late lead in the Cauldron, 59-13. The Devils called timeout and pulled the goalies to get the leveller, but were sent to a 2-goal defeat when Christian Moore beat the buzzer on 59-59 to make it Solent 4, Jets 6. The Jets will travel to the Oxpens on Sunday, and after the game, Alex Murray gave me his thoughts.
Yeah, I think naturally we're disappointed with the weekend's result. Obviously, Slough are a tough team, but after, the win last weekend and going into the game and starting off pretty well and taking a 4-2 lead with about a minute to go into the second, we really need to show our experience there and see that game through. I think the difference obviously is that, me understanding, the guys in certain roles and how we kind of do things to see some games out. But credit to Slough, they kept pushing and, some penalty trouble in the third period led to some power play opportunities for them, which they took. And then at 4-4, I think, we were probably the team that looked more likely to try and win. We're pushing in the last minute in their end, and then a mistake on our blue line gives them a breakaway, and yeah, the game's done. So, a tough one to take. But look, the league's competitive and everyone's going to have a chance to beat everyone on any given night. And the guys are, keen and eager to get back into training this weekend and look ahead to Oxford next weekend. Hopefully, get back on that train and pick up some points.
Buccaneers versus Chieftains. The visitors put an early marker down and took control of the first Essex derby, with Pentecost and Porter missing for Chieftains, but both Bartletts were welcomed back into the roster and their presence was felt immediately as Cameron Bartlett put the Chieftains ahead on 3:51, unassisted and even-handed. Chieftains could have added to their goal tally on numerous occasions, but were frustrated by former Chieftain Sonny Phillips. But he was beaten again on 14:57, this time by Grant Bartlett, assisted by Halden Barnes-Garner, slipped into the circle and sniped into the top corner. Fantastic goal. The brothers both making their mark in their first competitive appearances of the season. The tie was kept relatively quiet from a discipline point of view, unusual for the Essex derby, only one penalty per side in the first. Into the second, and the Bartlett show continued as Grant Bartlett grabbed his second on 28:37, again assisted by Barnes-Garner. A few minutes later, and after killing off some pressure from the home side, the Chieftains struck again, this time through Sasha Maltsev on 32:47, Dan Fay on the assist. As the period was winding down, the Chieftains struck again, showing their scoring prowess as Kieran Rayner got his second in 2 games on 38:49. Into the third, and the Chieftains took a few penalties, so the home side gained some confidence and pulled a goal back on 52:46 when Brinley Caps assisted Luca Pascali to snipe home for 5-1. taking Jordan Lauday's first shutout away. That's how the game finished. 2 5-1 wins on the trot. A man of the match for Grant Bartlett, player of the match for Ellie Wakeling for the Bucks. Both sides will travel on Sunday as the Chieftains head to Invicta and the Buccaneers head up to MK. At MK, finally wearing their new Buccaneers jerseys, the Romford Buccaneers headed to the Thunderdome as the two bottom sides met, and it was an entertaining affair. The home side took the first period with a goal from Cameron Hamill. An entertaining second saw the Buccaneers hit back, but the Thunder ultimately won out the second, finishing 3-2. The final period followed the same line of excitement, a home debut goal for Mario Chiru, and finishing with an empty net goal from Cameron Hamill, resulting in a 5-3 win. Keeping the Essex side at the bottom of the table, and after another difficult weekend for the Bucks, Jason Buckman gave me his thoughts.
Another tough weekend of results for the Buccaneers. Going into Saturday was full of confidence. It's a derby. Everybody's looking forward to it. Unfortunately, a few defensive zone errors, which led directly to goals, which against a team, or any team with any offensive firepower, you can't hand them chances on a plate. So it was an uphill struggle for the first two periods. We definitely grew into the game. Small consolation win in the last period, 1-0, but it's something we're going to have to address moving forward. Going into Sunday against MK, again, a few defensive zone mistakes. Against a fast skating, young, hungry MK side, they made us pay. So yeah, tough weekend. We had a chat as a team after the game Sunday, and you know, we addressed its mistakes we need to prevent in the future, and how we learn and grow moving forward. It's a steep learning curve. We're going to have a couple of hard sessions of training this week, and look forward to another 2 tough games next weekend.
Planet Ice Gillingham was the venue for the first meeting of the Dynamos and the Chieftains. As we've said before, hopefully not the first of 10 like last season. The game faced off to a raucous atmosphere provided by both sets of fans, and the scoring started early as the Bartlett brothers once again were the bane of the Britton division, as Grant assisted Cam for the first goal even-handed on 3:45. Both netminders set their stall out early that it was going to have to be special to beat them, and Invicta pulled out the special on 14:35 when Tom Saw, assisted by Thune and Harris, made it 1-1. Into the second period, and the home side pressured early, continuing his impressive weekend. Mads Thune, assisted by Chard and Bell, his massive slap shot into the top corner on 21:51. Chieftains regrouped and had to kill off a penalty on 26 minutes when Lack took 2 for holding. That wasn't the last penalty the visitors took in the second either. Cam Bartlett sat for 2 for slashing on 33:11, and in the power play, the home side stretched their lead when Roddyman and Dell assisted Huggett for 3-1 on 34:45. Ollie Baldock sat for boarding almost immediately after the goal, but Chieftains managed to kill that penalty. Discipline, or therefore lack of, having a detrimental effect on the visitors. Into the third, and the Dynamos stretched their lead further when former Chieftain Stano Laschek, assisted by Owen Dell, tipped home on 41:17. Straight after the Mo's goal, they took a penalty when Stokes got 2 for tripping, but the home side killed it off. After McCallan and Jay King took penalties, it was 4-on-4, and just before Invicta returned to strength, Ethan Reid went unassisted on 54:19. A minute later, Rayner took 2 for tripping, but the Chieftains killed the penalty, and on 59:53, Ethan Reid went unassisted again to make it 4-3. Chieftains pulled Jordan Lauday to have an extra man in the final 7 seconds, but it wasn't quite enough time, and the Invicta Dynamos draw first blood in the 23-24 season. After the game, Carl Lennon gave me his thoughts.
It was great to kick off our series of games with the Chieftains this season with a win. I was very happy with the result, and really good to be at home in front of a big crowd. Not only did we have our own fans in voice there, but of course the Chieftains brought a good number with them too, so it made for a great atmosphere in the evening. I thought personally we started a little bit tentative, a little bit nervous, and that, you know, showed in the performance, quite honestly, and the Chieftains took full advantage of that in the first few minutes of the game, scoring a goal that I think probably we'd want back. But credit to them, they took it well, and that, I think, sparked us into life a little bit. We sort of woke up from that moment on, and were it not for two exceptional saves from Lauday in goal, then I think the period may have finished in our advantage. But we managed to scramble one in to go back into the period break at 1-1, which I was happy about that character showing. And from there, I felt like we sort of grew as the game went on. The second period was very strong from us. Mads Toon scored a fantastic goal to sort of swing the momentum toward ourselves, and then that was followed by a really well worked power play goal by Tommy Huggett. That line really combined very well on that, which I was very happy about. And going into the third period, I had every confidence that we could see the game out and manage it well. It started well with Stano picking up a nice pass from Delhi to make it 4-1. And for most of the period, we looked quite comfortable. And it was really just a couple of casual errors on our part that made it closer than it needed to be, quite honestly. And of course, the last minute provided a few moments of panic, as they always do, especially when there's not much in the game. But we managed to ride it out, get the win that we of course wanted. And now focus completely turns toward next weekend, where we have two big games coming up for us. Romford away from home, and then Slough in our barn on Sunday night. They obviously had mixed weekends. Romford probably will want to revenge their losses from last week, and Slough are obviously riding high from 2 wins. So two different propositions, both young teams though that have a lot of energy, and that's something we're going to have to manage this week and prepare in the right way. So looking forward to that week of training ahead, and to preparing the boys for what's to be a challenging weekend.
Oxford City Stars versus Slough Jets. A feisty start at the rammed Oxpens saw the home side take penalty after penalty, but also killing them off. The Jets were pressuring their hosts, who were giving as good as they got. However, when Mitchell took 2+2 for cross-checking and roughing on 1936, the Gens penned the Stars in until Jack Goodchild and Christian Moore assisted Seb Moore with a buzzer beater on 1959. Into the second, and more physical play from the Stars, particularly from the Holldozer, but halfway through the second, it was the same Jets trio that doubled their advantage. This time, Goodchild and Seb Moore assisted Christian Moore on 30-11. The Jets were playing the neater hockey of the two and got further reward when the Holy Trinity struck for a third time, as Goodchild and Christian Moore laid on a neat finish by Seb Moore on 39-10. Into the third, and the Oxfordshire side feeling slightly hard done by at the scoreline, but their opponents feeling very worthy of it. Early in the third, a second hat-trick in 2 nights for the Jets, as Christian Moore's shot pops out of Miller's glove and is snuck home by Seb Moore for 4-0 on 43-09. The Stars continued to push, and Brett Massey was doing his best to frustrate the home side, whose frustration was increased when Christian got his third assist of the night, as Liam Clark made it 5-0 on 47-57. The game slipped further from Oxford's reach, as Hemmings-Mayer assisted Lewis English on 54-16, and 6-0 was how it stayed. A shutout for Massey, a hat-trick for Seb Moore, and the Stars' disappointing start continues. After the game, Simon Anderson gave me his thoughts.
Yeah, we're really disappointed, obviously, to be shut out on home ice. We had a big crowd in last night. My marketing's gone through the roof, so yeah, big crowd in there, and it's disappointing to not perform in front of them. We couldn't really stamp our forecheck on Slough, which was disappointing. The biggest plus for us was our penalty killing was really good, but other than that, we couldn't really get any sustained pressure in their end when we're 5-on-5, apart from early on in the mid sort of first period. Yeah, just a disappointing night. I don't want to take anything away from Slough. I thought they were excellent, well drilled. We couldn't get anything going. Our forecheck was poor, and yeah, it's just hats off to Slough. Sometimes you just got to lick your wounds and give credit to the other team. And we're a group that have not been together long. And we will get better. But it's a hard one to take last night. So yeah, we've got to get ourselves ready on Wednesday and get ready for Solent next weekend.
Fixtures for the coming weekend. It is another weekend off for Ben Painter's men, and also for the Thunder, as the other 6 teams in the league clash. On Saturday night is just the one game, and you can see the Slough Jets versus Chelmsford Chieftains at the Hangar. You can now buy advance tickets online from Slough Jets, so check their website for details. Probably best to pre-book for that. I'd imagine it's going to be a busy one. The Sunday night sees Invicta host the Slough Jets as they head to Planet Ice in Gillingham. Head to Invicta's website to purchase tickets for that one. Again, what a game that is lined up after the games we just had this weekend. Oxford City Stars, their tough start doesn't get any easier as they welcome Alex Murray's Solent Devils to the Oxpens. Ticket Co for the tickets and for the live stream passes for that one. And the second Essex derby of the season on Sunday as the Chelmsford Chieftains host the Romford Buccaneers. Ticket Co to get your advance tickets to this game. It normally sells out, so don't delay in getting your tickets. Well, thank you so much for listening to this episode. I really, really hope you've enjoyed it. A massive thank you to all the coaches that take the time to send in their exclusive coaches' thoughts for Zero Pucks Given. It is massively appreciated. And a huge thank you to Christian Moore for joining me. Not only an incredible hockey player, just a bloody nice kid as well. I'll be back next week with all the news, match reports, and coaches' thoughts from the weekend's games, and a guest, maybe two.